Modern physics and cognitive science share a persistent contradiction. We cannot yet map the specific contact point where an abstract, non-physical mind manages to interact with the rigid geometry of matter. The difficulty lies in a foundational axiom: like things can only affect like things. Principles of information theory suggest that a signal cannot pass between fundamentally incompatible systems without a mechanism to translate it. Our reality is anchored by two extremes. At the top, the pure subjective mind, the absolute observer. At the bottom, the pure objective universe, the physical environment. Standard materialist models struggle here by attempting to connect these two extreme states directly, assuming the mind is a byproduct of the material below it. Linking these nodes without a translation layer creates a gap in causal closure, a logical impossibility within a closed physical system. Bridging this gap requires a specific solution, a four-layer adjacent information processing protocol. In this framework, the biological body does not generate consciousness. Instead, it functions as a localized shell for storing and processing physical references. This positioning suggests the physical form operates as a necessary hardware solution, the interface required for a mind to navigate and collapse the possibilities of a deterministic universe. By inserting two translation layers between the mind and the universe, we complete the four-tier vertical architecture. The mind acts as the ultimate subject. It is the generator of intent and the final destination where subjective realization occurs. Below it, the soul serves as the intermediary information layer, a software interface or holding space that translates abstract intent into actionable data. The body follows as the physical repository. It is the tangible hardware, subject to entropy, existing to interface with the material world. Finally, the universe provides the global objective scope, governed by physical laws and thermodynamic inertia. This stack is governed by a strict rule of adjacent layer processing. Information cannot skip levels. The mind cannot directly alter the universe, and the universe cannot directly imprint upon the mind. Every discrete unit must pass through the sequence. This rigid sequence is the mechanism that allows a biological vessel to actualize abstract potential into concrete physical reality. We can view the human experience as a closed-loop thermodynamic engine, driven entirely by the transfer of information. This transfer is defined by a formal mathematical notation, mapping the interaction at every discrete boundary. The variable W represents will, the rate of willpower output, or the movement of compressed intent. Will originates in the mind, is translated through the soul and body, and is finally enacted upon the objective universe. Understanding, or U, is the conceptual rate of information flowing inward. The brackets representing these boundaries act as relative contextual limit functions, or refractive lenses. Refraction occurs because each layer operates at a different processing speed. The mind moves at near instantaneous abstract rates, while the body is limited by linear chemical processes. As the universe bombards the body with infinite objective data, the biological hardware must downsample the stream to match its finite capacity. The body uploads only the surviving physical references into the soul's holding space, converting physiological signals into abstract data points. Perception, therefore, is not a direct mirror of reality. It is a curated, mathematically downsampled data feed, optimized to keep the mind viable within a dense physical environment. This brings us to the meter of possibility, which functions as a literal field of information surrounding the observer. The mind broadcasts a spectrum of intent into this field, ranging from raw abstract potential to absolute certainty. Willpower is the mechanism of directing a high-frequency flow of ordered information forcefully downward into this possibility space. However, this exertion is limited by the finite capacity of the soul's bidirectional interface. A hyper-focused command from the mind creates an interference effect. When will dominates the soul's holding space, it consumes the interface's processing bandwidth. The system must reallocate its temporal processing rate away from incoming sensory data to sustain the outgoing push. A high output of will inherently disrupts the upward flow of understanding, leading to a momentary state of sensory blindness. This forceful interaction is what ionizes abstract possibility, collapsing it into sequential physical consequences. Intentional action requires a temporary shift in processing. To rewrite the physical universe, the system prioritizes downward output over its inward reading of reality. This information stack is mapped using a 5-blade, 5-line structure. It operates as an instrument specification, the minimum semantic load required to chart this coordinate space. This schematic, the psychic hegemony, maps the thermodynamics of information space onto a coordinate system of conscious architecture. Line 1, "You are a free-floating mind," identifies the position at the apex of the schematic, following the vertical axis of will. Line 2, "Interacting with the external universe," maps to the lower bounds, the objective physical baseline. Line 3, "Through the body and soul," anchors the central intersection, where these layers meet to facilitate the human experience. From this perspective, the biological senses are informational tools used to calibrate this central intersection. The core processing and moral calculations happen within the contiguous chain above the physical hardware. Experience achieves continuity when the internal structure aligns with the objective reality of the cosmos. Physical life provides the medium through which the cosmos tests and refines its own structural logic. The evidence suggests a system where the information field is the primary driver. The individual operates as a continuous field of data, utilizing a temporary physical vessel to calculate, navigate, and resolve the friction of reality.